Alright, so back to this. Yeah, don't really know what to say. Other than yeah, I'm not starting a new series, as you can probably tell by the video title. Again, I only plan on starting one new series, and that is going to be a Return to Brave New World Deity Brazil game where I try for a culture victory, but that won't be for a bit. That's kind of the last thing in general I plan on recording before I leave, head overseas for work. So, but in the meantime, and as you can probably tell by the video title, is I've done one of these before, but I played a Civ game with my friends, right? Literally yesterday. And yeah, it was something to where, again, you know, I don't want to say obviously I won, but it was, you know, again, it's something to where we played for fun, right? Entertainment, you know. I mean, but I guess that's why you play this to begin with. But it wasn't like single player where I was try-harding, but you know, it's just, well, it was an entertaining game. But I still wanted to do this type of video as like a game analysis. Again, as I did this for the last multiplayer game we did. So for this, right? I'm not. So hold on. Internet host load. And I'm pretty sure. So we do have autosaves from basically. Why is it every single fucking turn? Okay, so I'm curious as to why it's every turn, because I thought I had it on every 10 turns. I don't know. It might be a LecMod thing, but the big thing is we're going to start from, and then again, you know, oh, this is the game that crashed. But, so this is, let's start from, you know what, what's a good start era ancient, current era modern. So this is a bit odd because I'm pretty sure the last game we did was, we did, what would you call it? It was every 10 turns, and we started at the beginning, went to like the middle of the end. But I guess really all that's left here is turn 156 and then the last turn. So I think what I can do is I can just load again. So this is, what's the best way to do this? This is going to kind of be a short one because I'm only going to load 2 saves. Let's start with turn 156, right? And then for, I guess, what would you call it? Yeah, just launch game since it's us. Again, first thing to note is it's a LecMod game, right? Thing is, for whatever reason, one of my friends wasn't able to get LecMap to work. So we are playing, oh my god, is there a turn timer? I don't really care. I'm not going to do anything. So we're playing LecMod on a normal map. So this is just a normal, oh my god, I forgot. It's just a normal Pangea map. We went with Pangea. And yeah, you know, however, kind of the interesting thing is this wasn't a 4-player game. This was a 6-player game. Started out with 3 of us. It was me and 2 friends. My friends were playing as Wales and then Siam, right? And started out, and funny enough, we specifically planned on not attacking the Sitting Bull AI because one of our other friends may have joined us. But again, kind of the thing here, right? And what I want to take this time is to kind of go over like almost in like analysis, right? And I'm gonna do it from each of our perspectives. So this is my perspective on what I was playing as. Steam Winter Sale just went off, but again, I kind of want to do this and take the time. So for my game, and I was one of the people to kill the AI. Again, I normally don't do that when I play with my friends. I don't. Just because I don't like to war in general. I force myself to do it in single player. But honestly, if I had a preference, I'd rather just SimCity. I prefer to like SimCity and create a utopia over. This is literally what I told my brother. Because I'll go into his kind of play. Because he was Siam and he attacked the Brazil AI. But I prefer to just sim city and create a utopia. Doesn't mean I don't do war, and kind of where I'm gonna transition this to is, unfortunately, I don't have an early game save. But, so basically what I did is, again, I spawned. Funny enough, my settlers spawned here. I moved to the right to settle on top of Copper, which ended up working out. I saw the coast and I thought about moving to the coast, but that would have been a horrible play given what we saw. But I do think moving on to this Copper is the best tile because it gave me a Copper, cattle, and sugar all within like range. And then I eventually got these 2 Copper with a Citadel, as you can see. Kind of the funny thing there is, the only downside is I wasn't able to get a hydro plant. But kind of that's what I did, right? And, you know, early game, the only real difference that I do in multiplayer for a single player is in multiplayer, I'm willing to, like, take workers from city states. So I generally don't get as much scouting done. I scouted Troy, Lagos, Kuala Lumpur, took workers from all 3, and then just kind of scouted to the west and found the Grand Mesa, and then the AI's capital, which is this city. This was originally, I don't remember the AI, but this was originally an AI's capital, and as well as Mogadishu. But the thing there is I didn't get as much scouting done. And also, this is important to note because I had to really use the bathroom early on, so I missed like 5 turns. And that comes in relevance as to why I own the AI's capital city and why I attacked it. So basically, I took workers from these city states, did my normal early game stuff. I even went tradition. I went Liberty after I killed the AI, but I went tradition as just normal early game. I went and settled this city. As you can see, this city is very, very close to my other buddy, but I didn't scout him at the time. So basically, I just kind of, honestly, I was kind of pushing my settler into like the fog of war. I was being pretty greedy, but the reason why I wanted to settle this location was because I had scouted to the east, all these city states, and was like, all right, there's nothing to be settled to the east of me, and I just generaled these 2 copper tiles. So for me, and by that point, I already had an embassy with this AI. Funny enough, I still hadn't met my buddy here. If I would have and had gotten that embassy, maybe that would have changed my settle. But I had embassy with him, and again, saw these city states to the right, and I had embassy and had discovered this AI. So I'm like, all right, the only way I'm going to be able to get 4 cities in is by pushing this settle south, settling in the middle, and then putting a settle up north. So basically just settling into the AI. Now, what happened was, this is where this 5-turn intermission comes in relevance, right? Because we're playing against, Jesus Christ, level AI, not deity AI. So I pushed this settle south to here. And then I got this settle up here. However, the AI settled a city, I believe it was on... I think it was on this tile, Mine Road. Yeah, I believe it was on this tile because this is actually a city ruin tile. So I believe that, yeah, I think it was literally this tile. So I got Cologne, got Duisburg, but the AI put a settle on this tile, and that really kind of blocked off and prevented me from getting this 4th settle in. So that was when I made the decision to basically just chariot rush the AI. Like, this was literally like a turn 30-40 decision where it's like, alright, I mean, I have my cell down here, settle up here, but I'm just not going to be able to... And the reason I would have pushed a settler here, which I was originally going to settle, like, my first city here, but I kept kind of pushing south because I knew I kind of needed room for a city in the middle to get my 4 cities up. And so I pushed this one south, and then I went up because there were still, like, barbs in this area. So I was really being kind of greedy with my settler. But again, and that's what led to the AI settling. And then basically just my decision to just chariot rush. I took the city, raised it to the ground, settled my own city for that 4th city tradition benefits, and just killed the AI's capital. So this was literally probably like turn 50 to 60. I mean, I can probably go to the... Oh, it's definitely not going to be in the notification log. Yeah, no. So, but that was when that happened. And then I just kind of, once I took the AI's cap and had my 4 cities, I just sat on these 5 for the rest of the game. Again, if I was able to... chances are, if I didn't take that bathroom break intermission and had... it's quite possible I could have gotten this city off before the AI was able to settle here, and I would have just sat on my 4 cities. I wouldn't have even bothered attacking the AI, and the AI probably would have expanded west and, like, north. Because the big thing is, once I took the AI's cap and had my 4 cities, I thought about expanding and pushing another city west, but honestly, like... And especially since there is the Grand Mesa here, again, my issue is just... Honestly, by that point, because I had committed to a war with the AI and had basically just been spamming units, and because I was behind in the early game anyway, because I took a bat. Funny enough, I ended up losing like a scout and a worker that I had taken from a city state during that bathroom break intermission. I think it was Troy, but I was able to get Lagos and Kuala Lumpur's worker. But the thing with that is... Yeah, basically, I could have pushed maybe a 6th city. I don't think I would have settled more than 1 more. So I could have done a 6th city, maybe, like, on the coast somewhere. Like, I mean, it probably would have been on the coast somewhere, like, here, maybe here. I don't think I would have settled for the Grand Mesa. There's just not really enough around it. But maybe I could have done, like, a 6th city on the coast, like, on one of these 2 tiles, but... By that point, I just wanted to catch up and get back in the game. I didn't even have a coastal cap, so the appeal of coast wasn't really there. So again, for me, kind of the bigger thing was... And then, funny enough, I started wonder spamming, but because I had kind of committed to the early game war, I wasn't in the lead. Funny enough, my buddy here, who was on his 2 cities and kind of, you know, turtling in the early game, he was on... He was actually, I'd say, like, in the lead in the early game. So I was competing with him for wonders. And then when he started beating me to wonders, that's when I kind of started, you know... Like, rather than, you know, war or wonder spam, I kind of turtled up, focused on my core, you know... Again, focused on my core and just, what would you call it, you know... Focused on my core and just... like growing and expanding on these cities, you know. I finished Tradition, I went Liberty actually, and then by the time I was done with these 2, I just went Rationalism into Ideology, so. And again, that's pretty much my game. I don't think I need to go to the end, but again, that was that. I do think it worked out, and I basically played the best I could. I mean, again, but I can't blame myself for taking a bathroom break, right? I hate to say it, like, that's just, you know, I'm not going to say, oh, I shouldn't have taken a bathroom break and just held it in through the whole game, got this 4th city off, right, you know, and just turtled on these 4. But I think, given the circumstances, the only thing is I probably shouldn't have tried to wonder spam after the war. And then maybe I should have tried to push for a 6th city here. I wouldn't have gone past 6, and I don't think I would have sold the Grand Mesa, but I may have potentially, like, pushing for a 6th city on the coast may have been not too terrible of a play. But, again, you know, I think I'm satisfied with kind of how I played the game. I will say, I kind of shafted my buddy because of this settle. Kind of a pretty, like, it's obviously closer to his cap than mine, still in between us, but the thing is, this is the settle I needed to get off, for, what would you call it, in order to make room for this city, and then, again, as there's only 4 or 5 tiles between these, and then, obviously, this city up here, so, I'm satisfied with how I played. Now, kind of how do I go on? Can I even exit out of this? Oh, I guess I can go to menu. Let me exit out and go into the POV of, not single player, multiplayer, standard, internet. Let me go to the POV of Let's go to autosaves. Go to... Was I at 156? I don't know. Yeah, go to autosave. Yeah, load game, and let me swap with... oh, I need to kick him. Alright. Alright, there we go. So this is my brother. I'm gonna load in and kind of go over what he did and how I guess I would change it. I wish I had an earlier save, but I don't. Yeah, I wish I could save, but I don't. That's kind of the problem. So, alright, so we're at turn 156, right? Alright, holy crap, a lot of shit just happened. Alright, so we are at turn... You know what would be a funny challenge? To see if I can come back, as one of my buddies, but... So, turn 156. Alright, this is what he's... Or 157, this is what he's working with. So, kind of what my brother did... Holy crap. This is a horrible tile for Citadel, but let's ignore that. So, as you can tell, he kind of got shafted in terms of spawn. As you know, this is just a regular Pangea, not Lekmod Pangea. So, got shafted with a spawn, right? Again, you know, and he basically, his play and what he did was he sold this city and immediately attacked into the Brazil AI. Like, at about the time I was attacking into this AI, he was attacking into the Brazil AI, and he actually killed the Brazil AI pretty efficiently, and he took 1, 2, 3 cities, again, including Brazil's cap, right? As opposed to, I took 2 cities, raised 1 to the ground, but the only city that I really kind of kept off the AI was, again, his capital, versus my brother who kept the 3 cities. I guess here's the thing. Like, let's put it this way. If I were in my brother's position... My brother settled in spot. If I saw he was this close to the coast, I probably would have settled on the coast, right? I don't know exactly what spot. Maybe here on the river. Maybe here closer to, like, this incense and horse. So long as I still get the fish. So, like, either on this tile or this tile, it doesn't matter. I probably would have moved my cap to the coast. What I would have done next is probably push a settle for Kailash. That seems to be what he did, but it seems as though the city state got first. But even if I would have gotten Kailash, a city to the north for 2, if not 3 fish, as well as other resources, isn't the worst. So, and on top of my cap being coastal, I probably would have put a coastal city up here. As for a 3rd city, so Brazil was able to settle this location. I probably would have tried to push for this location. I know my damn, are all these desert incense? That's actually kind of tragic. I still probably would have pushed for an inland location. And probably tried to... I don't think I would have been... I don't know if I would have been able to push all the way to here. But at the very least, I would have tried to push to where Brazil's city is. And I'm going to be honest, you know... If, with this coastal cap, a coastal city up here, as well as a 3rd inland location, I probably would have just turtled on those 3 cities the whole time. Maybe tried to push for, like, if I was worried about science generation, maybe push for, like, culture, or especially diplomacy, given that he's playing as Siam, right? You know, and that's kind of his special ability. Because, again, I really don't like to do war unless I view it as, like, absolutely necessary, which is kind of how I viewed it in this situation. Again, so for me, like, in my situation, from my POV, war was kind of a necessary. Like, I had no real choice but to do war. So for me, it was like, alright, cap, you know, this city, AI took my spot, kill the AI, and maybe I should have... Holy crap, I didn't know this was his unit. Maybe settle a city in this location, but ultimately chose not to and just to sim on my 5 cities. But again, it's something there to where it's like, yeah, you know, but in his situation, if I would have been able to get this 3rd city off and just kind of, honestly, a city, and especially if he would have gotten, like, camp food, a city kind of in the middle of everything here. Maybe even, well, this is kind of near his cap, but a city kind of towards the AI on probably one of these two tiles wouldn't have been the worst. So, yeah, probably on like this tile would have been not too bad. Or, yeah, on this tile wouldn't have been the worst. So, yeah, again, probably would have done city on the coast, city northern coast, city in the middle, and then push either tourism, if not diplomacy, given that's kind of what the Civ is tailored towards. If, let's say, the Brazil AI still pushed, I probably would have taken this city and then taken his cap. He went and took Salvador, which is kind of a shitty city. I don't think I would have gone for that, but if I would have, I probably would have put a sixth city like on the coast here because, you know, the resources here are pretty nice. And then I can use, he should have used the Citadel, Kailash from the war, but I could also Citadel the Fountain of Youth. But again, that's kind of his game. Again, I know I talked with my brother and he said he enjoys war, so, you know, it's kind of different for me because I prefer to just SimCity and create a utopia. So I guess from his perspective, in going in with that mindset, I guess I probably would settle coast, settle somewhere in the middle, kill the Brazil AI, probably raise Salvador, but maybe put my own fourth city on the coast here. So I would have a total of 3 coastal cities. The cap, city up here, and then city down here. And then I just have Rio de Janeiro and then this city. I don't think I would have kept Salvador, but definitely would have sold a 3rd city on the coast here. But, I mean, that's kind of from my brother's perspective. So, hold on. I want to go from the perspective of my other friend. So, yeah, so multiplayer standard, internet, host game load, auto saves, so 150, go back to 156. I wish, because in the last one, what I did was I could go through, like, different eras, but with this one, it's a bit, I can't really do that, because for whatever reason, I thought I had it auto save every 10 turns, but I guess it's only, every, like, I had it only every, which is kind of obnoxious. So I'm curious, Sheep Tiles yield 1 food, 1 gold. Also, I forgot to mention, so the benefit, I actually have a really good Civ. Franks, the nice part about Franks is you get a food per farm. So basically, I didn't need to worry about religion the whole game, because I just had so much faith generation from farms. Again, really, when I was, if I would have play as my brother, what that would do is basically influence me to try to go diplomacy, probably, you know, and not focus as much on science, or diplomacy or tourism, right? You can kind of both victories. I don't want to say they go hand in hand, but you can kind of push both at the same time versus science, since you're not taking science as much of a priority. You know, at least science victory, but probably will focus more on tourism science as my brother. You know, settle this location too, definitely, since it's on the coast with my cap in this city. So, as my friend, though, and again, his Civ, so the benefits for his Civ are he just gets food and gold. So, and then he also gets a cool, unique, I don't think he's built any at this point in time. Oh, he does. He gets a nice, unique improvement. But I think the biggest thing, and what I will say with my friend is pretty good at SimCity. I mean, he's on 2 cities in turn 157. He has decent signs for 2 cities, you know, and decent culture, as well as tourism. At this point, he was being me in tourism. I only 24. So, the funny thing there is he was actually pushing for tourism this game. However, as you can see in the fact he's only on 2 cities, his problem is, and I'm pretty sure he started on this grassland tile here. So he moved to the coast, which I'd say kind of a questionable decision in his situation. It's not the worst, but, you know, again, right? Kind of, like, for me, I had the choice to move to coast or move on to the copper. And I chose move on to the copper, and that worked out. I think in his situation, moving to the coast probably wasn't the move. But again, I think, and his problem is just compared to, let's say, my brother who maybe had slow expansion, like, but at least killed the AI. Like, I probably would have tried to focus on expanding quicker, you know, coast, expand quicker, expand into the middle, and maybe then kill the AI, put a city on the coast here, raise this city. He just didn't really expand at all. I don't remember when he got this city up, but it was pretty late. Like, I had already expanded down here and killed the AI by the time he got this city up. So, again, besides moving on to the coast, which was kind of a questionable decision, his kind of major flaw there was just taking so long to expand. His SimCity's good. He's got 300 signs for 2 cities, and then he's beating me in tourism. Not in culture, but tourism at this point in time, because obviously, you know, I had a fuck ton of culture. But yeah, so for him, what I probably would have done is settle in spot. I don't think I would have moved to... it's not the worst. Honestly, moving to the coast is... for me, because I started on this grassland, so moving to the coast definitely would have been not... It would have definitely, you know, been a terrible idea. So glad I didn't do it and just settled on this copper instead. But the thing for him is... because if it's this grassland tile... Actually, hold on. Let me go and check and see, because I can literally see what tile he started on. So, because if it's that grassland tile, moving to the coast isn't the worst. So yeah, let me... And as you can see, yeah, there were 6 AI at this point. So I'm just curious to see which tile he started on. Because if it is that grassland tile, then that's honestly... Moving to the coast isn't that terrible of an idea. So, I'm curious. It is this, so, because again, right? And what happened is, so he settled on this grassland, I believe. Yeah, so he did. So what he did was he moved here with his settler, moved here, and then settled. Honestly, this isn't the worst. However, my problem is I never would have, like, scouted to... So, honestly, and especially if he would have settled on this grassland hill, that's worst. But here's the thing, right? And this is... And again, this goes with his kind of lack of expansion. So, go back to turn 156. With his, like, lack of expansion, right? Let's see, so... Yeah, we're gonna kind of see this here. So... Honestly, I don't know why... Like... Dude, holy crap, I can't say this. I was gonna say, I probably should just be doing this from my POV, because I'm more the map discovered. So, honestly... My thing is I never was settled on coast because I wouldn't have, like, expanded in that direction. But honestly, since he did, it's actually not the worst idea. And especially, yeah, this week, funny enough, settling on the coast would probably be the best move for him. Like, I actually think, you know, now looking at it, it was probably the best decision he could have done. You know, with kind of the thing there being that, and especially in this tile with this wheat. So this is, funny enough, probably the best tile he could have settled on. It's just... I wouldn't have found it with how I would have scouted my warrior. I just so happened to see the coast up here moving my warrior, but I wouldn't have moved my warrior in a direction here to where I would have seen the coast to be able to sell. But I do think this is probably the best settle from him. Versus, let's say, my brother, where I definitely would have seen the coast and settled on either this tile or this tile. But so that works out. The problem, again, like I mentioned, is his expansion. Given he, like, because if I would have settled here, I would have, Jesus Christ, I would have pushed for a city location where I settled this city from this, which is obviously way closer to him. I would have pushed for this city, probably pushed for a city north and maybe even on the coast, and then pushed for a city south. Did my game crash? Like, that's probably what I would have done, and kind of turtled on those 4 cities. Maybe even a 5th city southeast. But the big thing is, since he did settle on the coast here, he should have definitely pushed to expand quicker. He should have pushed for a city on the coast up here by this river and resources near his cap. he should have pushed for a city down here. You know, I mean, this would be a bit of an awkward city, but once you get optics, you can move, and especially once you get roads up, you can move stuff there pretty quickly. So, like, on the marble wouldn't have been the worst idea. To get, I wouldn't have pushed it any further past the marble. Like, down here is a bit obscene. Just on the marble so you can get this fish. And then, again, just kind of all the resources in the area. So that already puts me at 3 cities. I'd have the cap, city up here, city down here, and then I 100% would have pushed for a 4th city inland and not let myself in this location take this spot. And even if I did, because honestly, even if I did take this spot, or the AI took this spot, and me being on the coast here, settled up here, and then down here, I could have definitely pushed for a 4th city inland, like, let's say, you know, like here. That's actually hilarious. Yeah, I would have pushed for a 4th city probably inland here, you know. And that honestly wouldn't be the worst, like, case scenario. So, again, right? I don't want to say on the coast down here, because that would be kind of obnoxiously, like, far away. Maybe I would have, maybe I wouldn't. But a 4th city here. So, definitely, even with me kind of expanding aggressively towards my buddy, you know, and my friend, if I were in his position, I definitely still could have gotten 4, if not 5 cities up. Or, still definitely could have gotten 4 cities up. City on the coast here, city on the coast down here, and a city either inland or on the coast here. And I could have rolled with those 4 cities. I wouldn't have put a city on this. Funny enough, there's uranium on this tundra tile, but I wouldn't have put a city on this island. But, what I would have definitely done is, again, if I wasn't on the coast, like, and I was, which, if I started from his location, I don't think I would have scouted towards the coast. I just wouldn't have, so, you know, I wouldn't have seen it. So if I started in this location, settled here, I would have pushed for a city northeast, probably pushed for a city northwest, and then pushed for a city southeast. Maybe no coast at all. Maybe, like, I settled this city. I probably would have settled it on this grassland river tile. But, you know, and then this city I probably would have settled kind of probably on this tile, maybe. Who knows? Or this tile, kind of to get everything in the area. But that's what I would have done. Northeast, northwest, southeast. But, again, if I would have settled on the coast, 2nd city on the coast, 3rd city on the coast, 4th city either inland or on the coast, if I wasn't able to get this location. So, funny enough, let's take a look at the AI. So, again, the big thing being versus kind of my brother, who I think was put in a position based on his starting location to where he could only realistically get 3 settles up. And and with his civ, he's kind of forced in a position to where he has to push, like, let's say, tourism or diplomacy if he didn't kill the AI and settle this city down here. I think I could have feasibly still gone for, like, a science victory as, you know, my buddy here, right? With the 4 cities, 3 on the coast, 1 potentially inland. So, let's go take a look at the AI. And this is more so like, alright, what would I have done if I was the AI in this situation? Load game, autosaves. For a second, I thought this was turn 87, and that would have been a very interesting turn to load. So let's do if I were the AI. And funny enough, I can go to, like, I can even do, like, a last, I call it, where I have my own, perspective AI from, what would you call it? The AIs that got killed. So, this is the AI, right? So what would I have done if I were the AI? So, I assume this is where the AI spawned. I don't know if I would have changed that. Maybe moved down for this marble if I would have seen it. As well as to get closer to some of these mountain tiles. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, question, what would I have done if I were the AI? I mean, I definitely think a settle on, you know, this river is kind of a no-brainer, I probably would have settled this city. Still, I don't want to say it's an exact location, but I would have pushed for a city on this river. Maybe even two. I could have done like a city south to get the salt, because I definitely could have gotten it before the city state. I could have pushed for city south to get the salt and then the silk. Maybe like on this hill tile, as well as to get these like river tiles down here, and then a city north where I could have pushed for, let's say, this gems and then some of this incense. So like maybe on this jungle tile here or this grassland, rather than this kind of shitty city here. I think I would have probably pushed for a city southeast, you know, I guess, because if I move my cap, because here's what I could have done. If I would have moved my cap down for this marble, I could have probably, I don't want to say put a city north, but, you know, again, I just think regardless of where I would have settled my cap, city southeast, city northeast, right? And then I guess kind of the big question is where the last settle would go. Probably to the northwest. I mean, I don't want to say I would have pushed for a settle all the way on this river, but there are still some decent tiles in the area that I can work. So rather than a city here, I could have instead, and especially with this city going further south, I would have pushed to say northwest, northeast, and then southeast, rather than kind of just limiting myself with these three cities. So that would put me at 4 cities. I don't think I would have settled southwest. Again, just too much awkward terrain, and especially if we get this marble anyway. Again, it probably would have been like ideal situation for me. Move the cap to the south to pick up this marble. City to the northwest, probably on this tile to get these. I don't know if I would have pushed all the way to the river, but if I wouldn't have, at the very, holy crap. If I wouldn't have, at the very least, you know, maybe I would have even put it like here for this sugar. But, you know, at the very least, in a position to get these 2 salt, then I put a city southeast, right, to get this salt, this silk, and then a city northeast to get this gems as well as these incense. And then probably just turtled on those 4 cities. I don't think this AI, funny enough, is kind of the most, even though they're at the center of the map, they're kind of have the most space to expand. So, I mean, the only reason why I was able to expand as much as I did was I killed this AI. I kind of screwed over my buddy, but he still could have realistically got 4 cities, even with my Cologne settle. My brother had kind of no choice but to kill the AI, but theoretically, he could have gotten 3, like, semi-decent cities off and turtled, but he might have needed to just kill the AI, and then if I were in his position, I would have burned this city and sold this city anyway. But again, this AI kind of had the space to expand and just didn't. Funny enough, later in the game, they expanded like down here, but that's just too awkward of an expansion area. And if this AI, if my buddy were an AI, he probably would have sold this location already, but again, so now what we can do here is I'm going to go back to my POV at this point in the game and kind of go over what I would have done if I were the other. And then there's really nothing stopping me from, if I were that AI, just going for a science victory. So, alright, oh, I need to go to, oh yeah, so I'm just going to do, hold on. Because I'm just going to go from my POV and kind of say what I would have done if I were in the other AI's situation. Did the game crash? Alright, for whatever reason, I just lowered the volume on my headset. So, again, what I would have done if I were the other AI that were killed. So, now let's say if... Jesus Christ, holy crap. Now, what would I have done if I were this AI? I mean, chances are... So, if I were this AI, and I had spawned... I don't know where I would have moved. I probably wouldn't have moved at all. Maybe onto the hill or something. I don't know. if I spawned here, what I would probably do is I probably would have put... I guess the question is, would I have expanded for the Grand Mesa? I honestly don't know. I guess maybe what I could have done is I could have done some like 5-city play where I put a city like in this kind of area, you know, kind of closer to the Grand Mesa. I could have done what my original plan was and put a city on the coast here, put a city inland closer for the Grand Mesa and all these like resources. Obviously the cap. So what I probably would have done if I were this AI, honestly, I probably would have settled these 2 cities as this AI. Maybe change the location slightly, but I would have probably settled at least these 2 cities. I don't know if I would have settled this city down here, but I would have at least settled these 2 cities. Then I could have pushed for like, and now that I don't need to worry about this AI kind of expanding in my direction with these 2 cities on lockdown, what I could have done is probably this city I could have pushed, I don't want to say further north, but this city I probably could have pushed further south since I didn't plan on making a 3rd city here. So this city probably could have been further south, like let's say on this, you know, horse tile or something, maybe on the spice tile. So this city could have been a bit further south, and this city maybe could have been on the other side of the river or something, but still probably would sell these 2 city locations, just maybe they're slightly closer to this city on the other sides of these rivers, slightly further north, slightly further south, since I didn't plan on settling this 3rd city. I wouldn't have gone for this if I were this AI. I would have just settled these 2 cities, right? Then I could have done 4th city probably just up here. Honestly, if I would have settled further, if I would have moved the cap south onto this hill tile, then I could have put this city further north, like let's say on one of these 2 tiles, you know, to kind of get everything in the area as well as the Grand Mesa. And then I could have put, or maybe on the other side for this river, but then I miss out on getting this furs, but it's also like how important is this singular furs? But definitely probably a city for the Grand Mesa, because I also could have gotten Faith from Natural Wonders, and also because it's a good tile, and then probably a 5th city on the coast to kind of get everything there. So honestly, if I were in this AI's position, I could have pretty confidently gotten 5 cities up and running. Again, city north here, city south here, city for the Grand Mesa here, and then city on the coast. And just turtled on those 5 cities. I would have blocked off this AI. They probably would have put some shitty cities. You know, my buddy would have probably eventually sold this location. If not, maybe this AI still gets this location down. But I'm not as worried about this location since I don't need this location as a settle, since I have 2 locations behind me versus me in this position to where I kind of have to expand this way because there's no city location to the east or south. So, again, you know, there's that, right? But anyway, with that, now let's say if I were Brazil. Brazil is kind of interesting. I definitely wouldn't have settled on the coast. I wouldn't have, like, seen this. So, for me, I would have just settled probably where it is. I don't know if I would have moved at all. Maybe to get this gems in range, but what I probably would have done, I still think this coastal location is really good. So, I definitely would have put a city on the coast here, right? In terms of what other settles I could have done, I probably would have put a settle on this river here. And then probably still would have done a settle north. So what I probably would have done is a classic 4-city play where I would have expanded west onto this river to kind of get all this stuff expanding towards the AI, ensuring I get this location. Would have probably expanded north, ensuring I get all this stuff expanding towards this AI. And then, or my brother, pending on, you know, this hypothetical. And then expansion southeast to get all the... you know, coastal tiles. And then that, I probably would just simmed on those 4 cities. I mean, since I'm Brazil, I definitely would have just gone for a cultural victory. Like, or diplomacy again. You know, I probably would have gone diplomacy if I were Siam. I would have gone culture if I was Brazil. So I don't exactly, again, if I were in either of these 2 AI's positions, just given their abilities, I wouldn't have necessarily worried about getting, like, let's say, the amount of cities and land I needed as this AI in order to push science, because I would have pushed diplomacy as, you know, or like, let's say, if I needed to push science, or at least, you know, that was my best bet as this civ. If I were this civ, I would have still pushed science on my 4 cities, southeast, northeast, and northwest. In his situation, either city northeast, northwest, southeast, or just cities on coast, as well as potentially... Honestly, I probably would have put this city on the coast. Just commit to the coastal play. But basically, if I were any other AI, I would have just pushed science, so it's more pertinent to have those. But as Brazil, I could have just sat on 4 cities, and as, you know, Sam, I could have sat on 3 cities, really, and push either tourism or diplomacy. So... honestly, I guess the big thing is, if I were in any other position, I probably wouldn't have done war. Like, if I were in my buddy's position, I wouldn't have done war. If I were in this AI's position, I wouldn't have done war. And if I were, if I were in Brazil's position, I wouldn't have done war. Because even if one of these 2 locations got taken, I would have taken the other and still had this coastal location. So that's still, like, pretty good, like, on those 3 cities to where I could have just simmed for tourism. The only situation where I would have done war is if I were in my brother's position, right? And I had my coastal cap, coastal expand, and then an AI took my 3rd location inland. Because 2 cities, even though it's Lekmod, honestly, if I were really pushing diplomacy, I probably could have done it on 2 cities. So I don't even know if I would have... Yeah, honestly, so long as those 2 cities are coastal, which they would have been, it's something to where it's like, I probably wouldn't have... Like, honestly, if I were in any other position, I probably wouldn't have done war. Like, I think funny enough, the only way in which I was doing war this game was in the position I was in, where I settled these 2 cities and the AI took my 3rd or 4th settle in the middle, right? And then I just went to kill the AI and put my own settle down. So yeah, right? It's like, if I were in any other position, I probably wouldn't have done war. Because with Brazil, right, I would have definitely at least gotten 3 cities off, if not 4. And as Siam, I would have gotten 2 coastals off, pushing diplomacy, if not a 3rd inland. But honestly, the 2 coastals probably would have been enough. I also think an interesting thing to kind of note is this was on just standard Pangea. So if this were Lekmat Pangea, you know, I would have 100% had coastal expands as either Siam or, like, island expands as Siam or Wales. You know, probably not Brazil because only 1 coastal city. I would have focused more inland and then obviously inland. But if this were an actual Lekmat Pangea, I would have definitely been able to get some island cities. I probably would have still settled this location for Kailash, but I would assume there'd be island cities to settle. But honestly, I think that kind of wraps this up and kind of my analysis. Again, you know, I like to do this kind of analysis. I did it for the last multiplayer game. I wish I did it for multiplayer games before, but it's something to where now that I guess, you know, with Lekma and stuff, right? And I can, like, I guess save these games, you know, it's kind of nice to do, like, this type of analysis. So, again, right? Yeah, honestly, the only situation in which I was doing war was, I think, the one I was put in. And funny enough, if I literally did not need to use the bathroom and I was able to get this 4th set off, I probably would have just not done war and, like, turtled on these 4 cities. Like, I wouldn't have bothered attacking this AI. The AI probably would have expanded to northwest and west. And I would have just been peaceful the whole game. But, again, the only thing, honestly, it's probably good I didn't settle this city west, and instead I just focused on my 5 cities here. Because honestly, this city wouldn't have been as good and it would have been behind compared to, like, let's say, settling, because I raised this city AIC to ground and resettled my own, but since this was my 4th tradition city, you know, I wasn't really, it wasn't behind compared to like if I would have hard settled this would have been my 5th one. It wouldn't have gotten all the benefits. So yeah, definitely just settling my 4 cities and then taking the AI's cap was the play. Again, if I would have gotten my 4 cities off, I wouldn't have had to take the AI's cap. But since, you know, the AI settled literally, I think it was on this hill. And funny enough, if the AI would have settled, let's say like here or something, I could have still put this city on like 1 tile further to the east. Maybe even on this hill. And we probably could have coexisted. Again, I'd specifically pushed this city down further towards my buddy. Granted, I didn't see him at the time. Specifically so I could fit a 4th city in here. So I had every intention of settling 4 cities. City down here, city up here, city in the middle. But, again, so if I would have gotten in, I guess maybe if I would have, because part of my thing was I took workers from the city-states, so I didn't do as much scouting as I normally did. I'd scouted these 3 city-states, I'd scouted to the Grand Mesa, and then Mogadishu, and then the AI here. I didn't even find Siren or Santo Domingo, and I hadn't really scouted south. So I was just kind of pushing this settler as far down as I could get it, which ended up being on this horse tile. Because I knew I was settling a city up here, and then I knew I was going to put a city here for the spices and marble, as well as just these are resources that... And you can kind of see, I had this city take up all these resources. This city's kind of only working its northern resources, and this city's kind of only working its southern resources. So I ended up, you know, splitting the resources up between these 3 cities, and then obviously my cap pretty efficiently, and then obviously the AI's capital. But yeah, I was still, you know, again, the only thing I probably should have tried to wonder spam, because I mean, like, let's look at this. So obviously I have a fuck ton in the cap, but like I started getting wonders in this city. So like this city, I built the statue of Zeus in terracotta, so I was just building random wonders. And then this city has like Red Fort was the later one I'd gotten. This city is all thing. So again, right, the only way I could have played this game better was with and I kind of knew once my buddy started beating me to wonders, it's like, all right, I need to stop wonder spamming and locking. But other than that, it was a good game. I enjoyed it. Again, it's funny to think that looking at it, the situation I was in was probably the only situation I would have done war. I don't think if I were in any other situation I would have done war. This was, and again, that just goes because, again, really, and especially when it comes to multiplayer and me playing with my buddies, like, this isn't like a try hard, like, oh, I'm like, this is have fun, you know. And in my mind, that's SimCity create a utopia, which is kind of what I did. But the AI kind of did force my hand, but something or I'm satisfied with how it went. But yeah, you know, I think that's probably going to end this part, and we may try to schedule another game over this kind of holiday period. So I may be doing another one of these videos, but other than that, the next Civ game I play probably won't be for a bit. And that one will be, what would you call it? That one will be a Brazil brand new world game, or Brave New World game, and I try to push tourism. So we'll see kind of when that comes about. But with that, I don't really have anything else to say. So yep, that's it for this one. See you in the next one.